BlogTalk Radio.
Not my country. My country is me and my family.
Well, your country's also Huerta, and the governor, the landlords, Gunther-Roos and his locusts. This little revolution we're having here.
Revolution? Revolution, please don't try to tell me about revolution. I know all about the revolutions and how they start. The people that read the books, they go to the people that don't read the books. They put people and say, ho ho, the time has come to have a change, huh? Sit, shush! I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the revolutions. The people who read the books. Only the people can't read the books. The poor people and say, we have to have a change, so the poor people make the change, huh? And then the people who read the books, they all sit around the big polished tables, and they talk and talk and talk and eat and eat and eat, huh? But what has happened to the poor people? They're dead! That's your revolution.
When a silent majority allows their nation to lose its common sense, that nation is lost, and you are allowing them to take your country away from you. Is it common sense to adore at the altar of multiculturalism? Read your world history. Not one nation has survived as a multiculture. It's the uniculture that is your strength. One country, one culture, one language. Is it common sense that 84% of the people want to make English the official language of America, but your majority political party espouses insanity, ignores the people, and says no? Is it common sense that 53 countries, mostly in Africa, have declared English to be their national language, and the party who declares we will unite you says press 2 for Spanish? Is it common sense to adopt your new national religion of diversity when the very word means disunity? We founded a country on similarities, not diversities. One country, one culture, one language. You cry out for unity, but is it common sense to continue to identify yourselves by your ethnicities and not your nationalism? White-America, Black-America, Chinese-America, Hispanic-American, gay and lesbian-American, the Black Caucus, the Hispanic Caucus, the Women's Caucus. You want unity? Change your language. Isn't it time, once again, we all became just plain Americans? Or is that too much common sense? Is it your new common sense now to stand up and cheer when a presidential candidate wants to hand over the health care system to that same government who has run Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and 12 other entitlement programs into bankruptcy? A government bureaucracy who can't run a railroad, your airports, secure your borders, or find 15 to 20 million illegal aliens. That same government that allows Islamic women to take their driver's license picture wearing a neck scarf covering their face because it offends their belief. What's next? Allowing the Ku Klux Klan wearing their hoods? Is it common sense to bankrupt the American Treasury? Fighting wars for countries whose silent majority won't fight for themselves? Your debt is now $9.4 trillion. Is it common sense to continue to give away $9 billion of taxpayer money to unfriendly countries in foreign aid, including $2 billion a year to Egypt, who votes against the United States 80% of the time in the United Nations? All this while your own inner cities crumble. 40% of your high school graduates can only read or write at a 4th grade level. You have to import people from China and India for your high-tech industry because you haven't got enough smart people in America. And New Orleans and the flood victims of Iowa continue to be forgotten. This is madness. Lay down your misplaced global burden and rebuild America first. You can't support the world while neglecting your own country. Are you unifying the country with common sense when both of your presidential candidates cry out, we must show compassion for the 15 to 20 million invaders from south of your border? But not one word of compassion for the overburdened American taxpayer who is forced to subsidize the invaders by paying over $250 billion of their hard-earned money to establish America as the welfare department of a failed, corrupt foreign country. Are you unifying your country with common sense by sending out your utility bills and your Social Security checks in Spanish? Legal and illegal immigrants have no incentive to learn your unifying language because you make it easy for them not to assimilate. How many of you write in big letters across that bill, English only, please, and send it back? Stop bending over backwards to accommodate every other culture but your own. Is it common sense to allow your activist judges to ignore your history, your culture, your Declaration of Independence, and every other founding document to remove God from public life? And endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, their Creator, not the ACLU, not the will of the atheist, or the anti-Americans that sit on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco. Separation of church and state, yes. Separation of God from public life, never intended by your founding fathers. Is it common sense that the very political party who claims to be the party of the people and shouts, "We will bring change," consistently stops all common sense legislation to secure your borders, establish workplace verification, and stop taxpayer money for illegals? They call themselves progressive global thinkers. We had another word for them in 1776. We called them traitors. This happened all once before. 232 years ago, it led to revolution and thousands of dead in the streets. It will happen again unless you take back America now. Join the grassroots movement of the Second American Revolution, not of guns and violence, but pressure, pressure, pressure on your non-representing representatives who created these problems in the first place. This is the most important phone number in your democracy, the Congressional Switchboard. Pick up your phone every day, every hour if need be, and call your representatives and tell them in no uncertain language to listen to the silent majority or else be thrown out on their hindquarters. It's toll-free, and your taxes pay for it. Would you stand by and watch your family perish when you have the power to save them? Of course not. Then why are you doing that to your own country? 1-866-340-9281. Perhaps you allow all this destructive, uncommon sense out of a distorted notion of tolerance. Remember what Aristotle said, tolerance is the last virtue of a dying society. You are tolerating the behavior that is destroying you. This wine was once rich, highly desired and admired, but when you dilute it with enough water, it stops being anything. Take back America now. Choose to be part of the Second American Revolution. Pressure, pressure, pressure. No presidential candidate, no political party can save you now. Only an aroused citizenry will turn this uncommon sense around. And he or she who does nothing now is helping them to destroy America. My name is Thomas Paine, and I approve of this message. I only hope to God you will too.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you are with us, or you are with the terrorists.
That's right, everybody. You're with us, or you're with the terrorists. I hope you liked that little introduction there from the quotes of Thomas Paine. He's not really Thomas Paine, but I found that on YouTube this past week, and I thought everybody would enjoy it. Those of you who don't like it, you know what? Get off the phone line, go take a hike, and go someplace else. Because I don't need your input. I don't want to hear from you. Because you know what? It's time to fix this country once and for all. We are broken. Those of you who are old, tired, and weak, and don't want to hear about it anymore, well, you know what? You're part of the problem, too. Because you know what? You let it happen. You know, we revere the older generation, but in a way, you know what? You're just as responsible as we are today, because you let it happen, you baby boomers. you 1960s people, you're the ones that let it happen. That's why we're in the mess we are today. We're just going along with what you guys set down as a precedent. You should be ashamed of yourself. But you have the wisdom to change what is happening out there. That's why I always ask the older people and elderly people, especially of my family, to call in and give sound advice to help those of us out here who don't know what you did when you were younger. Make the mess that we now have. Okay? Don't let me get confused. You know, the generation of the 20s and 30s and 40s, those were good people. They were honorable people. The men and women who fought in World War II were honorable men and women, and they would lay down and they would die for the flag of this country. We know that. Today, we have people that I shouldn't even say they're worthless. Just go to your inner city or your local downtown area and your local markets, and you will certainly see what we have as a product out there in society today. It is absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. I invite everybody on this show every night to speak their mind, contribute, or say what's on their mind. Yes, we've been successful in the last couple of weeks. We've had a few new supporters come on, actually, in the last couple of days. But the amount that I've put out there of links to this show and the word of mouth that I've tried to spread out, we should have quadruple the amount of people speaking out and speaking up. Problem is, many people don't. I spoke to one person that was a member of my family. I'm not going to single him out right now, but I said, why don't you listen to the show? Oh, I don't want to get depressed. You talk about things that are real serious. I don't want to get depressed. So what are you, an ostrich? We all know what ostriches do. They put their head in the sand and they hide their head underground, thinking that when danger comes or something, you know, because ostriches are wild animals. So, you know, when something's hunting them or preying upon them, they'll hide their head underground, thinking that if they can't see the danger, everything will be okay. You better wake up, you people out there. You better wake up, and you better wake up soon. Because let me tell you something, we are in trouble as a society, and it's going down, slowly but surely. Your politicians are robbing you, stealing from you, and you act like it's nothing. You don't even care. All you care about is getting that paycheck on Friday afternoon and going out and spending it before you even made it. Most of you got your next week's paycheck spent before you even got it. You don't know how to save $1. You don't know how to budget a penny. You don't know how to walk into a grocery store and save and know how to shop with coupons and get the best deals. None of you do. You want to know why? Because you're on your freaking cell phone and your smartphones with your eyes down, looking at the screen, text messaging your friend, no matter what the deal is. And you young men out there, you know what I'm talking about. And you young girls out there, you know what I'm talking about with your silly little text messages. OMG, LOL, TCBY, blah, 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 all these little codes you got. You can remember that, can't you? You can remember those, but you can't remember how to perform a job. You get hired for a job, you can't remember how to run a cash register. You can't remember how to stock a shelf. You can't remember how to build something. You can't remember nothing, but you can. I'm going to tell you something. You're real creative on the internet, though, on your Facebook pages. You know how to design those Facebook pages and those MySpace pages real good, don't you? But you ask somebody to go on Photoshop or Paint Shop Pro and say, hey, can you design me an image for a cover of a DVD or something? You don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You don't know how to do it. You went to school for it, but you still don't know how to do it. And you got people marching up and down the street talking about the Second Amendment. Well, all these people are enforcing the Second Amendment. Why aren't you open carrying? When you walk out your front door, why don't you have your sidearm on your side? Like, for instance, here in North Carolina, it is legal to carry a firearm on your side openly. As a matter of fact, it's the law. If you are carrying a firearm, you have got to keep it in the open so everyone can see it. Well, the NRA, I've seen a guy today with an NRA sticker on the back of his pickup truck. Okay? He got out of his truck. Where's your gun? Where's your gun at? I actually stepped to this individual. Hey, I see you got an NRA sticker. Yeah, I support the NRA. Are you a member? I support them, yeah, but I'm not a member. I'm not paying $25 a year or whatever the hell their membership fees are so they can lobby Congress for a right that I've already been ordained by God to have. So I'm not going to pay them my money so some guy can walk around in a suit and tie talking about I should have the right to carry a gun. I know I have a right to carry a gun. I don't need the NRA to tell me that. But anyway, I understand they do a lot of good for gun rights. Okay, blah, blah, blah. But you're not getting any of my money. All right? But I spoke to this individual today. I said, well, you support. Where's your gun at? Well, I don't carry it around with me. Well, you got the sticker on the back of your truck, NRA. I mean, we know North Carolina is an open carry state. Why aren't you carrying your sidearm to show your support for the Second Amendment? Well, people see me with a gun on my side, he says. It causes controversy. I remember one time I did carry it, and they called the police on me. And okay, I see your point, but you know what? If every single member of the NRA or every single person who supports the Second Amendment did carry their firearm on their side, guess what? It would be a normal thing in everyday society. And guess what? All these shootings we see happening at the movie theater in Colorado, in the malls across the country, these criminals would think twice, because you want to know why? An armed citizenry will protect you against any criminal. I'm shopping in the mall with my family, okay? And some wacko decides he wants to come in and shoot the place up. Well, all these people that support the Second Amendment, they're carrying a 9mm or 45 Glock 45 on their side. Guess what? What happens to that guy? As soon as he pouts off that first shot, we're all drawing on him, and we're going to blow him away. We don't have 12 or 13 victims dead. So that's why it's all big, phony, baloney nonsense, NRA. Come on. Send me your money. I'll send you a bumper sticker. Yeah, right. Send me $25. I'll send you guys a bumper sticker. How's that? Let me get 10 million people sending me $25. I'd be in a suit and tie, too, walking around talking whatever you wanted me to say. It's all nonsense. And those of you who disagree with me or you do agree with me, that's great. But those of you who do disagree with me, and you know what? You need to call in and debate me. You debate me over the internet, through emails and on Facebook and these comments we have on YouTube. People post, but I think somebody told me, I think it was Joe and Meriden who told me, a lot of these comments on Facebook and YouTube, you know what? They're fake. They're not real people. They're computers. They're computers. They're robotic. They're not real people. They're fake profiles. We really have to understand what really is real in society today. We know when we hang up the phone tonight or we shut down the internet, we know what's inside our home is real. We know we are real. But when you look outside and you start looking at everybody else, are they real? Or are they just have a private agenda? What I'm trying to say is, if any of you ever seen that movie, They Live, it's an old movie with Rowdy Piper. He was a wrestler. It's called They Live. It was made like 20 years ago. It's a low-budget film, but you know what? It's actually pretty entertaining because it applies to the things that are happening today. Basically what happens is Rowdy Piper is an everyday American trying to struggle to make a living, and he puts on these sunglasses that he finds, and all of a sudden he sees all the subliminal messages, like the billboards, reproduce, support this person, support that. And then, he's walking around with these sunglasses, and he comes across a shop, and basically what it is these aliens have invaded Earth, okay? But they pose as real human beings. But when you wear these sunglasses, you could see they're aliens, okay? That's why the title of the show is They Live. And one of my introductions actually quotes that movie. It says, I got one that could see, So, and that's what happens. He walks up to a store, and this person puts his watch up to his mouth. He says, I got one that could see, so you need to go check out that movie. And that's what it is. It's like people like me and a lot of people out there who are listening tonight, my supporters, you know what the hell is going on. But there's a lot of people out there who have no clue what I'm talking about. And then there's a lot of people out there who don't really give a damn what I'm talking about. And then there's other people out there, you know what, who are against what I'm talking about. So we need to realize that. Those of us who are standing up for the right thing, listen, I'm not no saint. I'm nowhere far from perfect, and neither are you, anybody else out there. And I never claimed to be. However, the things that I've learned and the things that I've experienced in my life, I'm trying to share with you out there. Even those of you who think you know what I've been through in my life, I have seen a lot of bullshit, a lot of nonsense throughout my life. You can laugh, you can criticize me, you can deny it, whatever you want, but I lived it. You didn't, okay? I know what it's like to sit in a concrete box 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, day after day after day, counting the bricks on a wall with you, a mattress, and a toilet. That's what I experienced, okay? I know what it's like to sit there and look at those walls every single minute and second of the day. If you don't know what it's like, let's put it there. Let me use a scenario. After this show tonight, go walk in your bathroom, shut the door, turn the lights off, and sit there. And imagine staying there for the rest of the night. And then imagine waking up and staying there all day long tomorrow. And then imagine spending another night there. And in between, somebody brings you a little bit of food 3 times a day. And then you got to spend another day there, another day, another day, another day, another day. Before you know it, a month has gone by. Before you know it, 6 months has gone by. Before you know it, a year has gone by. What do you think your mind and your body will be like after that much time in your bathroom? Just picture that for a second, because that's what I experienced when they kidnapped me and locked me away for many years. If you don't know anything about it, pick up a copy of my book and you'll know. It's called Behind the Walls by Joel Hodnett. Behind the Walls by Joel Hodnett. You can pick it up on Amazon.com. If you can't afford a copy and you can't pay the $19, I don't know what it's going for now, but if you can't afford it, send me an email, and I have like 300 copies sitting here. Okay, I'll send you one for free. Send me an email at joegibsonishome@yahoo.com. That book right there will pretty much depict how I ended up in the place I ended up and what I did while I was in that place. And what I'm trying to tell you is, while I was in that place, I was locked away in what they call segregation, a hole, confined 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, darkness with a toilet, a mattress, one sheet, no pillow, looking at the bricks with a tiny little window to stare out of, which was smudged with whatever, I don't know what it was. I could barely see outside. I was locked away in that box for exactly 16 months. It was called the Close Custody Unit. And the reason why I was put in that place was because I knew too much. I knew what the system was about. Because if you read the book, you'll know what happens towards the end. The government asks me to work for them, to help infiltrate the people who controlled the prison. And I was against that, of course, throughout my time, because I am still today against the government and what they stand for, because it's all lies and corruption and nonsense. But you see, when you're trapped in a box and you have nowhere to run, nobody to talk to, nobody to beg for help from, you have only one choice: cooperate. Because if you don't, you're dead. You're dead. You will be killed. You'll be set up. You'll be burned alive. You'll be hung in your cell. They'll come in there with 12 goon squad guys, okay, with the shields and the baton, beat you to a bloody pulp, wrap a sheet around your neck, tie you to a light, and you'll be swinging from the light hung, and you'll be labeled a suicide, okay? That's how sad it is in those types of places. And I saw it firsthand. I saw a lot of people hang themselves. They really didn't hang themselves. They were forced to hang themselves. So, and that was back during the real difficult times of the early 1990s and the mid-1990s. You see, things are different today. It's not exactly the same because technology has actually helped out the people who do live behind the walls today. You see, they have cameras now. Everything's documented. Technology has kind of really helped out, even though I do criticize technology, but technology helped out those people who are living behind the walls today. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people do belong in prison today. There are a lot of evil and bad people who belong right where they are. But the numbers don't compare to the people who should be released without due process or cause and let go free, because the crimes that they committed are not hurting anyone whatsoever. What they're doing is taking away from the money that the real criminals of Wall Street and your politicians are. I think maybe I should stop there, because we don't want to let too much of the inside out tonight on the airwaves, because these people are very evil. I sued in federal court on a front platform, front page news. They rigged the jury. The first jury was so scared that they begged out of the trial. Made national news. It's in the book, guys. It's in the book. All you got to do is read it. First time in the United States history of this country that a jury begged out of a civil lawsuit. First time. Throughout all the cases, they begged out of a civil federal lawsuit. The first time. The United States Attorney General even commented in the book saying, I've never seen a jury do this before. Because, you want to know why? I knew too much. They were scared. And then, of course, they set me up, locked me back up for 90 days. And while during that 90 days, we had a new trial, and they got to select their jury, the jury that was probably employees of the criminals that I was testifying against. So pick up a copy of that book. It's Behind the Walls by Joel Hodden. Trust me, you'll like it. No, it's not professionally written. And you have to remember there are actual court transcripts in that book. So the spelling is not what you would read in a regular book. So you have to understand that. But pick it up. The truth is there, and I'm a witness living today after a survivor of 2 murder attempts to tell you that that really did happen in my life. So, if there's anyone else out there tonight who has a question or has something to say, you're more than welcome to call in. You know the phone number, 657-383-0616. Press 1, and you'll be connected live. Some of you may have a story to share of your own. My story isn't so unique that no one, there are other powerful stories out there. I was reading a story today about Planned Parenthood again and how a baby was born alive. You can go to Infowars.com and read that story. It's actually the number 1 story today. And it's a story that almost brought tears to my eyes. A baby was actually born, and they cut it up alive. Imagine that. Imagine if you were a baby being born. Imagine yourself being born, or your child being born, and you aborted that child, and it was taken away, put in a jar, and it was still breathing, its heart beating, and you cut its arms and legs off. Alive. It's alive. And you sold those body parts for experimental purposes to these pharmaceutical companies that force you to take vaccinations today. What do you think about that, people? Is that fun and games? You want to go play your video games? You want to go watch American Idol? Why not sit down and write your local representative a letter and tell them you're disgusted and you're fed up with their bullshit? Because this is not America anymore. It's not. I don't know what we should call this country anymore, but it's not America. It's not the America I knew and what I thought growing up would be. And I'm sure it doesn't actually reminisce with you either. Those of you who are older than I, my grandfathers, my mothers, my fathers, people out there who know what I'm talking about. When you were growing up in the 50s, 40s, 60s, and 70s, this is not the same America you knew. You know, I could ramble on and on and on, but the fact of the matter is we always want to hear from other people and what they're thinking, too. So if anyone's got something to say, I told you the phone number's 657-383-0616. Press 1 and you'll be connected. And I'll put you through live and you can say what you got to say. I don't screen any callers. I don't censor any callers. By all means. Without you, I don't have a show. I'm going to go ahead and put one caller through right now. 203-684, that's a Connecticut number. And I think who this is. It's one of my supporters, so we'll put him through. Hello, you're live on the air.
Who else could it be but Joe from Meriden, right?
Yes, Mike.
Do you have any other callers online?
No, I have no one else tonight, believe it or not. Go ahead.
All right. Well, that was quite an introduction now, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. I remember those days. I remember you requesting a book and me having to send away for it. Of course, things weren't the same as they are today, and it was a little bit more difficult to get anything. But I got the book, and I had to ship it to you. And time went by, and you kept asking for the book, and it never arrived. So I called up. And, you know, you got to keep calling because you never get anybody. And you got to keep calling. And I finally got somebody. And I explained to them my situation. And, you know, it says here that the post office delivered it and blah, 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 blah. And it went on. And she's asking me questions, you know, what kind of book it is and how much did I pay for it and where did I get it and what's my name and when's the last time I took a leak. And I'm not kidding you. Everything. And then when it's all done, she says, this has to be referred to the mailroom clerk, or in other words, the person in charge, she says to me. This has to be referred to the mailroom clerk, person in charge. I says, okay, well then how can I speak to that mailroom clerk? She says, well, you're speaking to her now. I said, oh, come on. This is the kind of crap I got to go through? I said, and she says, and you know what? I'm not going to allow it. Goodbye. And she hung up on me. That was $100 and something book. Right.
And as you, as a working man out there in society, you wonder why people are released from prison or what have you, or who are entering into prison, go back out and kill that grocery store clerk or break into a home and kill the entire family. You wonder why they do the things they do. Because we have a society and a correctional system that is so corrupt that, I just don't know where to begin on that subject. Like you said, it was quite an introduction. I can go on and on. But the thing of it is listen, you're creating the problems that you are facing today. We need to wake up.
Yes, there is no correction, at least not in Connecticut. I live in Meriden, as everyone knows, and there's a convenience store right around the corner from me. We've had people come from around India way years ago, and I bought them a brand new motor scooter. I paid for it too out of my pocket so they could get around, and we became friends. So I continuously go down there. I help them in the store when I can. I can't do too much, but I do help them in the store when I can, and I go down there and I sit with them. And so I'm privy to lots and lots of people who don't have a home, who have just been released from jail and prison, and what they do is I can't speak absolutely, but in my opinion, what they do is you're sentenced to 5 years or whatever, so they let you out 3.5 years later with good behavior. Oh, you think, oh well, I paid my debt to society. That's what you think. Your problems are just beginning because you have to go out and get a job. And first of all, nobody's going to hire you if you just got out of prison. Now, if you don't get a job, they're going to put you back in prison. Now you've got to get a job. Now you've got to get a job, and you've got to work 8 hours a day. But you've got to report to your parole officer 3 times a week. What employer is going to allow this? And you know what?
Yeah.
They make it impossible. So that's why people shoot, kill, steal. They don't care anymore. They're better off in jail.
That's true. You're absolutely right. I talked to a guy one time who was inside there, and you know what he said? I'd rather be in here than out there. So you know what? Hey, if I could rob a convenience store, if I could rob a house and get away with $1,500, I could party for a couple of weeks before I get caught.
Yeah.
Isn't that disgusting? Isn't that a really vile way to think? But you know what? I sat there listening to that guy, and he has no mother and father. He has no grandparents. Like you just said, why get out on parole? What the hell's the point? I'm going to go work for $10 an hour and have to report 3 times a week and then get fired from my job? I may as well go out and do the best I can, party it up, have a good time, and you know what? I'll go back and lay up for a couple more years. Because, I don't have a daughter, I don't have a son, I don't have a wife, I don't have a father, I don't have a mother anymore. So, and that's what you get out there. And people say, where do these people come from? Well, they come from the society that you're allowing to happen right before your very eyes. Now, people disagree with me and say, hey, I had nothing. I was growing up. But listen, times are not the same anymore. I can go out there, you know what, let's pretend I'm unemployed right now, which I'm okay right now. But let's pretend I need to go and get a job. Where the hell am I going to go tomorrow? I'm going to go to the local grocery store. First of all, you have to have an internet connection to apply anymore because nobody's going to take the handwritten application. So, okay, so out of the box there. Let's walk up to McDonald's. Are you hiring? Talk to the manager. Oh, boy, I'm making $7.85 an hour. Wow. What can I do with that? Can I get extra hours? Oh, no, we don't hire full-time. We only hire part-time. So it costs me $20 to get to work every day, all right? And then the government takes 33% of what I'm making. So I end up with a $56 paycheck after working 40 hours. What the hell is the point?
And that's exactly the way it is. And then some people are going to say, well, you did the crime, so you got to do the time. But that's not necessarily true either. You're absolutely right. There are plenty of people that belong in jail, but there are plenty of people that don't. And this goes along with what I said the other night. But I'm going to go back and reiterate from the beginning to where we left off. Things were different when I was younger, and I'm sure they were much different when my father was younger. And generally, the reason probably is because there was less crime back then. People didn't have to put up with this nonsense every single day. I walk out my door and there's some guy walking down with his pants hanging down below his ass and everything like this. You know what? I think that's a racist comment to me, and I think I should say something about it. But you know what? I happen to be white, so they won't listen to me. That's the problem.
True.
Right, and that's the problem. They're going down the street. The boom boxes are going so bad in their cars, they're shaking the table in the house. You know what? That's not even close to right. And where do these people come from? You know what? I think they should go back because they don't belong here. Now, that may sound bad and cruel, but unfortunately, they don't. They don't belong here because that's not the way it should be. And that's what we need, common sense. We need common sense. We don't need these politicians because the politicians aren't going to listen to us. You got a good idea. Everybody should call them. Everybody should call them on a daily basis. Maybe we'll get a little bit of effort for what we want because that's what they're supposed to be for. They're supposed to be doing what the people want, not what they want. We don't need a bipartisan deal. We need a bipartisan deal because that's what the people want, not what they want. And times were very different. Times were very different when I was growing up, like I said, and probably considerably more from my father. And like I said the other night, what we need is we need deputized individuals to go out through the town. And that guy walking down with the pants around his ass, you know what? Just take him in. You take him in front of the grand jury. You let those 12 to 23 people decide right then and there if he's guilty. And there you go. Because we've got cops that are corrupt, too. The cops think they're judge, jury, and executioner, and that can't be true. So the deputy may have the same outlook as well. That's why you have the 12 to 23 people sitting there where you're taken immediately, and that's the beginning. And if they want to let you go, then you let go. But you know what? Nowadays, if a police officer has a bug up his butt, he has a bad day, and he just doesn't like the way you looked at him, you're going to jail. And you're going to stay there. And if it's a Friday night, you're staying there till at least Monday. And if you've got children or dogs or animals or something to do at home, too bad for you. If you left the stove on, your house is going to burn down. And they don't care if it was just dropping a gum wrapper out your car door by accident because it doesn't matter what you say. You're not innocent till proven guilty. You're guilty till proven innocent. So if we had that 12 to 23 people, at least being part of the community for as many years as I have, and everybody knows me here, even if I did do something wrong, they could say, well, we know Mr. Gibson, he's not going anywhere, he's guilty, but you know what, turn yourself in Monday morning or something like that, or whatever. And that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be the way it is today. And the way it is today, it's because everybody's coming here from other countries, and quite frankly, America can't support it all. Yes, we could take everybody in the world and put them in the United States, and they'd have half an acre apiece at least in the entire world. Figure it out. Figure out the square miles and square acres of the United States, and figure out 7 billion people, and you'll see they could all fit in the United States. It wouldn't be very tight and everything. You wouldn't be very happy. So there's plenty of room throughout the world. So you know what? Put them back where they came from, because I don't want to live like that.
No, I know. I agree. And you know what? The other night we were talking about Donald Trump, because he's the president today. And I came across something that I'd like to play for everybody tonight. I hope they listen, because this Jason, who called in, I believe it was Sunday night on Family Night, he said Donald Trump never answers the questions. He never addresses any of the questions that's brought forward to him. And that's what every politician does. If you ever notice, when they're interviewed, they never answer the questions. So, we're going to see right now, live on the air, we're going to listen to Donald Trump answer the question. It's only 2 minutes long, so bear with me. And listen how he answers this question.
Okay, let's go.
Sorry?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm visiting from Russia. My question...
Good friend of Obama, Putin. He likes Obama a lot. Go ahead.
My question will be about foreign politics.
Okay.
If you would be elected as a president, what will be your foreign politics, especially in the relationship with my country? Do you want to continue the politics of sanctions that are damaging of both economy, or you have any other ideas?
Okay. Obama gets along with nobody. The whole world hates us. You know, it's an amazing thing. You look at Mexico, they hate us, they hate our leadership, and yet they're making a fortune. China hates us. China is building ports in the South China Sea. We could never do a thing like that because we'd have to get environmental impact statements, okay? So I jokingly said to a friend, do you think they got an environmental impact statement when they did? So China hates us, and yet they're making everybody hates us, and yet they make money with us. With me, we're going to make money on them, and they're going to like us. I know Putin, and I'll tell you what, we get along with Putin. Putin has no respect for President Obama. Big problem. Big problem. And Russia has been driven. You know, I've always heard, for years I've heard, one of the worst things that can happen to our country is if Russia ever gets driven to China. We have driven them together with the big oil deals that are being made. We've driven them together. That's a horrible thing for this country. We have made them friends because of incompetent leadership. I believe I would get along very nicely with Putin, okay? And I mean where we have the strength. I don't think you'd need the sanctions. I think that we would get along very, very well. I really believe that. I think that we would get along with a lot of countries that we don't get along with today, and we'll be a lot richer for it than we are today. We can make our country great again and get along with people. Everyone says, oh, is Trump divisive? Somebody said, maybe you don't have the personality, Mr. Trump, because you're not a nice person. You know, they used to see me fire people on The Apprentice. I'm not a nice person. I think I am. I get along great with people. I give a lot of money to people and charities and everything. I love people. I think I'm a nice person. I want to be a nice person. I am a nice person. But then I said to the person, I don't think it matters if I'm nice, because people are entitled.
Well, folks, yeah, as you can see, I don't know if you heard it earlier. Best I could do, record audio. Donald Trump actually did not answer one thing that woman asked. She asked how Russia would, fare with the United States on economics and these political agendas that we're currently going through today. And Donald Trump totally, all he did was, like Jason said on Sunday night, put on a show. I'm Donald Trump. Everybody hates us. Everybody hates us. China hates us. Mexico hates us. Everybody hates us. He puts on a show for everybody. And you know what? That's why he's leading in the polls. Because Americans love to be entertained. And like I told you the other night, before this election really does kick off, he's going to drop out. He's going to drop out. He's not going to stay into the end. He's not part of the establishment. He's a multi-billionaire businessman. Come on. Do you think he's eating and sleeping and thinking about you paying your electric bill tonight? You know, I listened to old Ronald Reagan videos. And, Ronald Reagan said when he used to look out the window of the White House, his bedroom window, he'd see people out there fishing. He'd see people out there going to work in the morning. And he wondered, what's going through their minds today? That's a real president. That was a man who cared about the American people. Donald Trump is a billionaire, and he don't give a damn about you or me, and he can care less. He's putting on a show, and you know what? When this election is over, he's going to be richer than he ever was. And he knows that, and you need to know that too. I'm calling out to Donald Trump. I wish I could get him on this show. I've been trying, believe it or not, folks, for the last couple days. I'm trying to get him on this show, because I'll bombard him with questions he's never been asked. And I'm telling you right now.
Answer.
Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. And he won't answer you either.
You darn right he won't. But he answered somebody. He answered a 3-year-old who was sick. I got the article right. As a matter of fact, and guess what? It happened in 1988, but it's on the front page news of the New York Times the other day. Donald Trump saves 3-year-old with his private jet. Because we know the New York Times, we know they print what they're told to print, because that's a popular newspaper. We know that. Just like you told me. CNN and Fox, they're told what to say. Well, what she said. What'd she say? I got Jesse Jackson here. Well, wait a second. I'm Reverend Al Sharpton. But hey, listen, I gotta tell you exactly what that teleprompter says, or I won't have a job. They gotta do what they're told. See, I don't. I'm speaking from the heart. I'm speaking from my mind, and I'm speaking from experience. And that's why I invite everybody on. If you got something to say, you got the floor. And I do that to everybody. And like I said, I'm glad that we got a lot of new callers in this week, because that really helped me out, and it gave me a little more momentum, and it gave me a little more pizzazz to keep going with this show. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the entertainment field really pays off for me. I did that Monday morning quarterback show. I had more listeners that day than I did all these shows combined that I do in the evening, talking about the problems we face every day. Because Americans love to be entertained. They'll tune in any minute, I can give a prize giveaway, $100. Hey, call in. You're the 10th caller. I'll give you $100. I bet we'll have everybody calling in,
That's right.
So all I'm trying to say is we're trying to help people. And if you want to be helped, call in. But anyway, Joe, if you're still on the line, we actually blown away an hour already. If anyone else got something to say, it's 657-383. 0616, press 1, you'll be connected. If not, we're going to start getting ready to wrap it up. Joe, you got anything else closing out for that tonight?
Yeah, you're breaking up pretty bad. I got a lot to say. You could keep me on for another hour or 5, and I'd be happy. But we had Six-Pack Palin up there last time. We had McCain up there. I don't know if he can even remember that he ran for president or not. I believe presidents are selected. They're not elected. So that's what I think. So I think that they're all up there for show. If your past history is any indication of the job you're going to do, which I alluded to last night that it is, I didn't get to say my whole spiel about it. Then we're going to be in deep trouble with Hillary. And if it happened to be Trump, he's a businessman. He'll run the country like a business. I don't know if that would be good, or I don't know if that would be bad. Look at Obama. He's going to transform America, but that's the only thing he knows how to do, because he never did anything else. And what did Bush do before he was president? So I think they're selected. They're not elected. It doesn't matter if you vote or not. George Bush lost Florida twice, and he needed that to win. And sure as heck, he won Florida.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
the way it goes. That's the way it goes. And your opening there, you were sitting day after day, and that's how I heard that. Well, McCain was captured, and now he's a hero because he was captured in the war. And since he was captured and he was in the war, he became a senator, and then he ran for president. Maybe that's what you should.
Well, Joe, not to interrupt you, but I know the truth about McCain, and actually McCain was a trustee in those Vietnam camps, and actually he helped kill a lot of Americans, believe it or not, and he was a trustee, and what that means is the Vietnamese used him against the other prisoners who were POWs, and that's the dark side of McCain that no one really knows about. If you research McCain, you'll find out the truth that really he wasn't a war hero. Well, he was captured first, and yeah, I understand that, but he sold out. He sold out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's where you, as an investigative reporter, because that's what you could be. Well, first of all, you're going to have to get yourself a better audio connection, because
I know
every other word is broken up. But you're going to need the equipment to maintain all this information, because you can't remember. You're going to need a daily planner or something like this where you can find information in a matter of a couple seconds, because you'll never remember it all. But you were talking about gun carry and everything. North Carolina is an open carry state. Connecticut is an open carry state, but you have to have a permit to open carry. Not a concealed permit, but you have to have a permit to open carry, believe it or not.
What about Wisconsin?
I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe I'm still looking here. I don't think I have it anymore. I don't have it open anymore, so I can't tell you.
Okay.
But I can find it later. Who's calling who?
Somebody's calling in, actually. I don't know what's going on here. Somebody calling in? Hello?
So you're calling out.
No, I don't think so.
I told you the other night with these buttons on these phones. You don't know if I hit one or not.
I'm sorry. Yep, you're right. Somebody was calling in. They should disconnect any minute. Call drops. Okay. Somebody actually got into the host line, and they were calling me, trying to get in. So I hope they get in through the guest line, which is 657-383-0616. So, but that, like I said, our phone lines, we got 30 people on the line tonight, Joe. So I really wish someone else would participate. If they just want to listen, that's okay, too.
Back in the late 80s and very early 90s, you were talking about cutting coupons. Well, what I did, I was a very good DBase programmer back then, and I made myself a nice database with a scanner like they have in stores now. Of course, they weren't prevalent back then, and I used to collect coupons, manufacturers' coupons out of the newspaper, scan them all. They used to be all categorized by the UPC numbers on the bottoms. They were all scanned in. I didn't care what the coupon was. I just scanned it. It went into my database, and I kept them all. And I made a 3-line phone system to answer the phones automatically, and I put ads out, and women were calling in all the time buying these coupons from me. You get a nickel coupon, you sell it for 2 cents. Of course, you got a minimum order, so that's what they had to do. But I think they did outlaw that in Connecticut. Now it's against the law to actually sell them. But not only was I using the coupons, but I was selling them.
Wow.
You get the manufacturer's coupons. You get $1 off. That was a good deal back then.
Sure. Well, Joe, you want to go ahead and get ready to wrap it up for us tonight, or you want to carry on? It's up to you, because I don't have anyone else with any questions, and I already had my say in the beginning, and you said it was pretty good. So we'll go ahead and whatever you want to do, it's up to you.
Well, that was good, but I had something I wanted to say last night that I sort of got into tonight, which has to do with my feelings on the presidents and the way they're going to rule. So maybe I could just take a minute and a half and explain myself.
All right, go ahead.
Well, when I was growing up, I hung around with my father quite a bit. My father was an electrician, among other things. He taught me how to wire houses, how to cut BX cable, which nobody probably even knows what it is today unless you're an electrician. BX cable, what the hell is that? And all that stuff. What size wires to use, how much current you can run through a wire. If you were using 3 wires, you can underrate the neutral wire. Blah 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 blah. So I went through I wired many houses with him in North Haven. I've wired firehouses in Meriden and stuff along railroad track, all kinds of stuff while I was growing up. So I learned a lot from him. I learned about amateur radio, resonant frequencies, building antennas, and where to put guide wires, and all things like that. I used to go down to the Wallingford dump when I lived there, get old TV sets, carry them home. I used to walk downtown Wallingford, go through all the old parts that the TV repair shops threw out, bring them home, test them, keep the parts that were good or marginal, throw the rest away, fix the TV sets that I got from the dump, get them working the best I could, then bring the TV sets back to the dump. And, my father helped teach me about TTL circuits, transistor logic, and CMOS, complementary metal oxide semiconductors. I started building my own circuits and everything. Back in the day, I had my own, I call it a cell phone, but on CB radio, where we could drive around town and actually access our home phone and make another call out to someone, and that was unheard of back then. I used to build my memory boards for my computer, 8-kilobyte memory boards. They had 1,000 holes in it for ICs, etch the circuit, etch it in acid, drill every hole. So what I'm getting at is I learned quite a bit about electricity and electronics throughout my lifetime. And that got me into the universities here, where I taught other people. You know, they used to call me Professor Gibson, but I really wasn't a professor, because kids today and everything, and students that were going there, this is the stuff they wanted to know, and I used to tell them about it. So that's what it goes on and on from there too. But that's what I'm talking about with the presidents. They're going to rule the country as the way they were brought up throughout their lifetime. You see, it'll be rare that I'm going to marry. It's going to be rare that I'm going to marry Cameron Diaz or Sandra Bullock and have a different kind of life than I have now, because those things happen, but they don't happen to normal people. So I will still conduct my life the way I've always conducted my life, because there's no reason for me to change it. So I think the president, whoever it is, will run the country more or less the way he's used to living, if you know what I mean there.
No, I agree with you. No, what you're saying is right. Is that, I'll never get a date with Sandra Bullock. You be chosen. You have to be part of the elite.
Yeah, but that's not what I meant there. Me going out with Sandra Bullock. What I'm alluding to is that my life is my life, and that's the way I'm going to continue my life. And if I became president, I'd make it mandatory that everyone go to a school which would teach them a trade, or that would be my goal, you see, because it has to do with my life. But there are people like me that are out there that may have had the same experience, but when they get later in life, they'll marry into a different class, and then they'll become something else. They'll become something else. Their previous life is now gone, so they don't care about that anymore. You got these movie and audio producers like Phil Spector. He has all kinds of copyrights on the Beatles and all kinds of Motown and things like that. And he was on trial a number of years back because he put a gun in a woman's mouth and pulled the trigger, because he's in a different lifestyle now. He's got all the money he needs, and he I guess he would think that people have to do what he wants now, So, that's what I'm saying. Some people move into a different class of life afterwards. Most people generally stay the same.
True. That's true. Well, Joe, you certainly gave us something to think about tonight. I guess you gave us a good wrap-up for the night. But
can't wait to get me to hang up, huh?
No, actually, I was listening to what you had to say, and I think it's pretty good, and I'm sure a lot of other people do, too. I mean, I'm in the studio right now. Like I said, you got 19 people on the line right now. I don't know who you got through the podcast, and you got 4 people in the chat box. We know who they are. But, no, we've only got 27 minutes left, so if someone else has got something on their mind, press 1, and I'll put you through, and you could talk tonight. Okay, but if not, then we'll go ahead and start getting ready to wrap it up. What do you think, Joe?
I think we'll wait for someone else to chime in, and then I'll shut up. But I'd like to say one more thing, and when I finish, if no one else has chimed in to talk, then we'll hang up.
Alrighty.
In Watergate, there were 18 minutes of missing audio somehow. Nixon lost 18 minutes. Bill Clinton gets on the stand, and what was it? What is the meaning of is? Hillary Clinton's supposedly getting top secret photos of Benghazi sent to her server, which was in a closet in a bathroom in Idaho. And what they did with those pictures, all the stuff that happened in Benghazi, right? And now she knows nothing about it, and the hard drives have been wiped, and they questioned her, and she says, "What, with a cloth?" She's playing, and this is going to be could be our next president. Like I said last night, Clintons should be history by now. We shouldn't even pay attention to them. As I said in weeks previously, the FBI took control of this server, and they made sure, or they're making sure, that nothing is getting out from it. But emails get around, and I'm sure there are copies somewhere. So one of these days, some of this stuff is going to pop back up, and we'll know a little bit of the truth, but we'll never know it all. And why she had to have that server, and who knows what you'll never figure out what these people are doing.
Yeah, I know. It's all nonsense. You know what, Joe? I would talk about these things, and hopefully this show will expand And like I said, this past week we've gotten some new supporters. 2 of them are listening tonight, but they don't have anything to say because I sent them a question and they said, no, we're just listening. So, hey, I mean, we'll just keep chugging along. And like Mike out in Wisconsin, he's a supporter. We got Elizabeth in Connecticut. She always listens. We got you in Meriden, Connecticut, who listens. And we got Bridget in Reedsville, North Carolina, who listens all the time. And I know her phone is down. I know that for personal reasons. But, Joe, we'll go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. Like you said, I don't have any other question marks. So I'll schedule us a guest tomorrow night. If not, we'll be back on and we'll talk about the news of the day. Okay?
Fine with me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, good night, everybody. God bless all of you. And like I said, we're going to start getting some guests on here so we can grill them and question them. So just give me some time here, and I need to get my headset and my microphone straightened out. Equipment is expensive, and, programming things and connecting things, it takes time, and that's what I'm working on right now, okay? So good night, everybody. God bless you, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's show.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement, and this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement, and it gives no choice between peace and war. Only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better rev than death, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools, and our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. He said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space. which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Thousands of FBI agents are on the trail of other citizens here and abroad. It has everything to do with hate and evil and murder and prejudice. America's strong.
Federal agents, we are armed!
What would you do if you all the things we know?
We have one suspicion in possession of illegal firearms.
What would you turn away to? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong, or would you turn and walk away? What would you do if you knew all the things we knew? Would you stand up for truth, or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong, or would you turn and walk away?
I see a message from the government, like every day. I watch it and listen and call them all suckers. They wanted me about Osama or whatever. Picture me buying the scam. I said never. You in tune to a hard truth soldier spitting. I stay committed, gives a fuck to die, I lose commission. It's all a part of fighting devil state mind control, and all about the battle for your body, mind, and soul. And now I'm hoping you don't close your mind so they shape you. Don't forget they made us slaves, gave us AIDS and raped us. Another Bush season mean another war for profit. All in secret so the public never think to stop it. The Illuminati, 666, all connected. Stole a vote, they control the race and take elections. It's the Skull and Bones Freemason Kill Committee. See the dragon getting shittier in every city.
What would you do if you do all the things we do? Would you stand up for truth, or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong, or would you turn it off?
Now ask yourself who's the one with the most to gain. On 9/11 motherfuckers couldn't stand his name. Now even niggas waving flags like they lost their mind. Everybody got opinions but don't know the time. Cause America's been took, it's plain to see. The oldest trick in the book is making enemy. A phony evil so the government can do its dirt and take away your freedom, lock and load, beat and search. Ain't nothing changed but more colored people locked in prison. These pigs still beat us but it seems we forgetting. But I remember 4 September how these devils do it. Fuck Giuliani, ask Diallo how he doing. We in the streets, holler jail to the thief. Follow fuck waving flags, bring these dragons to their knees. Oil, blood, money, make these killers ride cold. Suspicious suicide, people dying, never told. It's all a part of playing God, so you think we need them. While being Ashcroft, take away your rights to freedom. Bear witness to the sickness of these dictators. Hope you understand the time, brother, cause it's major.
What would you do if you do all the things we do? Would you stand up for truth, or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong, or would you turn it off?
So now you asking why my records always come the same. Keep it real, ain't no fillers, motherfucker blinging. Mine eyes seen the gory of the coming of the beast. So every story, every word I'm saying, fuck peace. See, you could witness the Illuminati body count. Don't be surprised, these is devils that I'm talking about. You think a couple thousand lies mean shit to killers? Nigga, I swear to God, we the ones, ain't no villains. Or any other word they think to demonize a country. Ain't no terror threat unless approval rating slumping. So I'ma say it for the record, we the ones that planned it. Ain't no other country took a part or had their hand in. Just a way to keep you scary so you think you need them. Praising Bush while that killer take away your freedom. How many of us got discovered but ignore the symptoms? Niggas talking loud but ain't nobody saying shit. And with the 4th Amendment gone, eyes are on the 1st. That's why I'm spitting cyanide each and every verse. I see the Carlisle group and Harris bank accounts. I see them plead the 5th each and every session now. And while Reichstag burns, see the public buy it. I see the profiling, see the media's compliance. War's good for business, see the vicious make a savior. Hope you understand the time, brother, cause it's major.
What would you do if you do all the things we do? Would you stand up for truth, or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong, or would you turn and walk away? What would you do if you do all the things we do? Would you stand up for truth, or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong, or would you turn and walk away?
You can't imagine how much money they've spent trying to silence good people who have put their lives on the line to fight for change.